Welcome, friends, to another episode of Bramble On. Today we will be dealing with workers and trucks and all sorts of ambient noise, so we shall try to push through before the brouhaha becomes too intense. Let's dive in to episode 15927, BASIUM INTERRUPTUM, shall we? In this episode, as we recall, last week was the premiere of season 1770, where Dod Hoskins became the hero of the entire realm by thawing the Fae whom had been frozen by the Fawn Witch at the Granamas Ball. Now, in our current episode, 15927, Viola goes to talk to Stalk about their kiss, but their conversation is interrupted by the trial of Dod Hoskins, hence the title BASIUM INTERRUPTUM, Kisses Interrupted. The trial of Dod Hoskins has to do with the fact that no humans are allowed in the ring. Prince Raffia has been vocal about his intention to kill that human that Nanny Nettlebottom saved when the human hit a tree 2 seasons ago. And now, that very human is not only alone, with no other humans around, in the ring, surrounded by Fae, but he is the reason the Fae live. This trial is going to be edge of your seat, I can guarantee you that. Next, Calla Lily. She goes back to Ivy Glen, the once timid empath who would be sick for days in bed if she so much as stepped on a bug by accident, now has the wherewithal to return to work. And what's more, they wanted her back, but they suggest she wait until after the upcoming 2 Holyloom, as they will be closed for those Holyloom. Again, in some realms that word is pronounced Jollyloom. In Dimension Q, especially on planet Gaia, you will know that word as meaning holiday. Moving on, Slate goes to City Hall, what we know as City Hall, to research how to annul his marriage. Finally, Slate is serious about getting out of this ill-conceived farce of a marriage. However, the hall is closed because of the trial of Dod Hoskins. We'll have to return later, but a good first step, I say. Citron, as we know, she'd been trying to assert her individuality and independence by, for the first time in her life, not having a man as the focus of her attention and affections, focusing now on her career. But Jeffrin is not just any man. He's an elf, and of a quality she may never find again. She is at City Hall, as she now works there, and she runs into Jeffrin, who is applying for a job as a staff photographer to show Citron that he is serious and willing to work. His application will have to wait as well, as we know Hamlet Hall is closed for the trial. Magnolia, also at City Hall, Hamlet Hall, where she now volunteers in the Annals department, runs into Slate. Slate there, as we said, seeking annulment. They have a friendly conversation, not much more, but you can see in their eyes their attraction has not waned 1 iota. Brook, who has been living with Stalk, leaves Stalk's abode so that Viola and Stalk can talk alone. He goes for a walk and he runs into Milliam by the stream. Their talk is friendly enough until Milliam tells Brook in no uncertain terms, "It is time to be a man, not a unicorn." What will Brook do with this advice? One can only speculate. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the outcome of the trial of Dod Hoskins. Arguments are made on either side of the debate, the equation, the situation, and in the final analysis, Raffia's ruling is not only to spare the life of Dod Hoskins, but at the urging of so many in the realm, Dod is made an honorary Fae. Can you imagine what a stroke of genius. I was shocked. I cried. I cheered. I am beside myself with delight at the turn, the inclusiveness shown on the show. For Raphael's part, it is not all altruism. He intends to keep Dodd close so as to keep an eye on him. Keep your Fae friends close, keep the humans even closer. That wraps up the bullet points. Now let's move on to this episode's sponsor. It is the new clothing line by fashion designer company The Emperor, with garments so sheer, so light, so breathable, you'll feel like you're not wearing anything at all. Indeed, your friends and neighbors may very well say the same. Feel fabulous in the skin that you're in with the Emperor's new clothes. Available now at outrageous prices at finer clothiers. This episode received a 4-mushroom, 1-flower rating, nearly as high as the season opener, that was 5 mushrooms. And I believe every bit of fungus was earned in this episode. As always, we will take 3 listener calls. Let's move on to caller number 1. What say you?
I can't take the suspense. We waited so long for Viola and Stalk to finally kiss, and now that they have, we still don't know what the future holds for them. Just when they're about to have a meaningful conversation about the kiss, the trial starts, and we're back where we were before, drowning in suspense. Athereans, take me away!
I am right there with you, caller. While so beyond thrilled that the kiss finally took place, I too wonder what will the future hold for these 2 star-crossed lovers. Where are they to go? In this episode alone, they were not given the opportunity to discuss matters as they need to. Again, I am with you, the suspense. Oh, I feel it. I feel it in my bosom. I feel it in my soul. Oh. All right, moving on to caller number 2.
I'm with Milliam. I have always had a soft spot for Brook, but it really is time he figured things out and started out on a productive path. He wants to be a unicorn. I want to be Batman. Neither of those things are going to happen, and that's okay. It's time to fay up, Brook. We've all waited long enough.
I have to admit, I was rather shocked by Milliam's high-handed approach with Brook. Brook being of such delicate stock, but I think this may have been what was needed to get through to Brook, to snap him out of his fragility and wallowing. It is true, he will not be a unicorn. And so, I think Milliam did the right thing. And I will be very interested to see how Brook acts upon this sage advice. Moving on to caller number 3.
At first, I was kind of cranky at the thought they would devote half the episode to that human, Dodd Hoskins, who had always been such a bramble in the neck. But after what he did for that ring last week, that changed everything for me. I was crying and cheering during his trial, and I think the addition of a human into the mix is going to make for some interesting new storylines. Looking forward to seeing how this season unfolds.
Interesting, caller. I, for one, was pleased with the amount of attention given to the trial of Dodd Hoskins. Given Raphael's hatred of humankind, I did not see the trial as being so much just about Dodd, but as addressing 1,770 seasons of Fae superiority and hatred of humankind. I was on the edge of my seat every moment. I didn't even turn the kettle off when it sang, but waited until the commercial to turn it off as I needed to know what happened. As I said, for me, it addressed age-old issues between the races, and the subtext for me was what made that scene so poignant. And I feel that many of my questions have been answered, questions that I've had for ages, and I feel much more secure in my understanding of the relationship between Fae and humans. although we know that Raffia still is a wild card in that regard. Like you, I cried and cheered during his trial, as I did for most of this episode. And like you also, I believe that the addition of a human really will add some possibilities in storytelling that we've not seen in quite a while. Perhaps since the era when the centaurs ruled. In any event, I agree, and I am looking forward to seeing how this season unfolds. That sums up episode 15927. Tune in next Plulu for episode 15928, in which we can expect the following plot points. A human touch. Fae boys will be fae boys. And woods gone wild. Until then, my friends, enjoy your replays of the first 2 episodes of this thrilling season, and join me in brambling on to talk.